يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أدى الأمانة وبلغ الرسالة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين فاللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد عباد الله، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله عز وجل، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلوات الله وسلامه عليه، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة. يقول المولى عز وجل في القرآن العظيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. ويقول سبحانه وتعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. All praise and thanks is due to Allah, and I bear witness that none is worthy of worship but Allah. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his last prophet and messenger. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam fulfilled the trust, conveyed the message, and struggled for the sake of this deen until he met his Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May the peace and the blessings of Allah be upon him, his family, his companion, and those who follow his path until the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commending the believers, us, believers then, believers who came after them, believers today, al-mu'mineen, and the believers who come until the day of judgment. All you who believe, fear Allah, as he should be feared, and die not but in a state of a total and peaceful submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The command from Allah Azza wa Jalla in this ayah is to live Muslim and die Muslim. It's not just worry about the end. And if we want to die as Muslim, we need to live the life of a Muslim. That's what we talked about in this ayah. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the hadith, which is one of the beautiful hadith, and a hadith that we can practice. That's why I try to repeat this hadith every Jum'ah. من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكرم جاره. من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكرم ضيفه. So this is a practical hadith. When the Prophet ﷺ said, the one who believes in Allah and the day of judgment should say good or keep quiet. So talking too much without benefits is not good. The one who believes in Allah and the day of judgment should be good to his neighbor or her neighbor. The one who believes in Allah and the day of judgment should take good care or be hospitable to his or her guest. My brothers and sisters in Islam, especially in these days, which is the end of the year and a lot of graduations, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of your kids with Iman, first of all, and with Hidayah, and with the education that they need in this country. A lot of graduations, high school, universities, and so on and so forth. And these days probably where the parents are happy with the achievements of their kids, of their children. And that's why the kids or the children are zinatul hayat al-dunya, al-mal wal-banuna zinatul hayat al-dunya. This is the beauty of the dunya. When they're born, when they're growing in front of you, and when they graduate, and then when they get married, and so on and so forth. This is full of joy, the life of children. Today I have chosen to take you to another Nabi, another prophet who made the dua. We have seen the dua of Ayyub, the dua of Yunus, and the dua of Adam, alayhim salam ajma'een. Today I'll take you to another dua, and the dua deals with the children, with the offspring, of the dhurriyyah. And the dua today is the dua of Sayyidina Zakaria, alayhi salam, ahadu anbiya bani Israel. He's one of the prophets who was sent to the Israelites, or the sons of Israel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talks about this in the Quran, and at the end of the Jumu'ah, I try to get the lessons from the Duaa of Zakaria. And when we make dua, what do we want from this dua? What do we want to be? The dua should deal with what? Zakaria was a man who was old. When the Quran talks about him, he was old. And his wife was even sterile before getting old. When she was young, she couldn't have kids. And she's old now. She's old and she was not sterile. She was sterile at the time, and Zakaria is old himself. But look at Allah Azza wa Jalla when He talks about this dua of Zakaria. He gives us an introduction. Nabi, he's a prophet. Yet, he needed an introduction. He needed someone to remind him of a dua. He needed someone who is receiving the blessing of Allah Azza wa Jal to remind him that a dua is important. That's why we remind each other of dua all the time. Yes, we're human. We try to do things with the means available to us, and sometimes we tend to maybe forget to make dua before or after or during our efforts. But if we are reminded that dua is ibadah and the dua is the key, the strongest key to what we need, then maybe we'll go back to the dua, asking Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal in Surah Al Imran. Al Imran, it's named Al Imran because of the family or the household of where Maryam alayhi salam, she is Maryam ibn Imran. Allah Azza wa Jal said, إن الله اصطفى آدم ونوحا وآل إبراهيم وآل عمران على العالمين ذرية بعضها من بعض والله سميع عليم. Allah Azza wa Jal said, Allah has chosen Adam and Nuh and the family of Ibrahim. That when He said the family of Ibrahim means Ismail and Ishaq, means Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the family of Imran, now He's going us to just the family of Imran means that the side of Ishaq alayhi as-salam, above the al-alameen, mankind, jinn and ins, all these are the chosen people. Allah Azza wa Jalla in the following verses tell us about Maryam alayhi salam, the wife of Imran, who is the mother of Maryam. She was pregnant, or she was actually seeking children. She made dua for the children. But she made also another. She made a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the baby that you give me, Ya Allah, remember, she was in need for children. She wanted children. But at the same time, she made another, a promise to Allah Azza wa Jalla, that the baby that comes, I will make him a servant, your servant in the masjid of Allah Azza wa Jalla. He's going to be he's your servant. Khalas. He's going to just be at the service of the masjid and those who are in the masjid. You know, at that time it was masajid because the Anbiya was there, Nabi after Nabi. إذ قالت امرأة عمران رب إني نذرت لك ما في بطني محررا فتقبل مني إنك أنت السميع العليم. The wife of Imran, the mother of Maryam, she said, "Oh my Lord, I have vowed to you what I have or what in my womb to be dedicated to your service." Subhanallah. And that's the right understanding of a Duriyya Salihah. You want children? Yes. I want to have kids, but what kind of children I want? Children are good. And they're the beauty of this life. But I want the specific children, certain children, righteous children. How do I make them righteous children? He or she said, I promise that he's going to be at the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then when she gave the birth to the baby, it was a daughter, a girl. And usually, Bani Israel at the time, they give the boys to the service of the masajid, or not the girls. قال فلما وضعتها قالت رب إني وضعتها أنثى والله أعلم بما وضعت وليس الذكر كالأنثى وإني سميتها مريم وإني أعيذها بك وذريتها من الشيطان الرجيم. Beautiful, the wife of Imran. When she said, okay, I have delivered the baby, but the baby is not a boy, it's a girl. And the boys and the girls are not the same, male and female are not the same. Which context? Not that the boys are better than the girls or vice versa. No, in the context of the boys, or Bani Israel used to use the boys as a servant in the masajid. And I have called her Maryam. And then she made another dua. Beautiful dua we need to make also with our وَإِنِّي أُعِيدُهَا, and I seek refuge with you, Allah, for her and her offsprings from shaitan. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ورد في الأثر أنه every baby that was born, it was touched by shaitan, except the offspring of Maryam alayhi salam. Allah Azza wa Jal, the ayat continues, فَتَقَبَّلَهَا رَبُّهَا بِقَبُولٍ حَسَنٍ وَأَنْبَتَهَا نَبَاتًا حَسَنًا وَكَفَّلَهَا زَكَرِيَّا. Now Allah Azza wa Jal accepted that girl, meaning that she was at the service of Allah Azza wa Jal in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that time. And she was serving, but she was so good, a very pious woman. A very pious woman to the point that the Bani Israel who were mu'min at the time, they compete with each other, who will take care of this daughter? Who will be the kafil of this daughter? And it ended up that Zakaria alayhi salam was the one granted the kafala, or the caretaking of Maryam. And Zakaria is the husband of her aunt, Khala. So he's related to her. But he built a room for her in the masjid, so she can actually sit there and worship Allah Azza wa Jal. And when she has to go and serve and clean or do whatever in the masjid, she will go do that. But she was there. And Allah Azza wa Jal said, دَخَلَ عَلَيْهَا زَكَرِيَّا الْمِحْرَابِ. One of these days, Zakaria that I told you in the beginning, was old. His wife is old and sterile. And he was really wanting children. He wanted children. And he made dua before. But now he's at the point where he wants children. Every one of us wants children, wants dhurriya, offspring. And one of these days he entered the mihrab and he found Maryam. But Maryam had food with her. Where did it come? They don't know. Not only that, not the fruits of the season. If the summer, she gets the fruits of the winter. If the winter, she gets the fruits of the summer. So he was amazed by that. It is when you connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Maryam connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاصْطَفَاهَا Allah Azza wa Jalla. He has chosen her. عَلَى نِسَاءِ الْعَالَمِينَ. Among the women of the world. دَخَلَ عَلَيْهَا زَكَرِيَّا الْمِحْرَابِ وَجَدَ عِنْدَهَا رِزْقًا. He found provision, but not any provision. قَالَ يَا مَرْيَمُ قال يا مريم أنى لك هذا. Oh Maryam, where did you get this? And nobody comes to you, where did you get this? أنى لك هذا. قالت هو من عند الله إن الله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب. It is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore Allah provide for whom He wants. At this point, Zakaria realized another thing. That the children are rizq. The children that we have today, that we are enjoying, whether at the school or when they're born or whatever we enjoy with them, they are rizq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we need to go back to Allah Azza wa Jal to provide us with rizq tayyib, a good rizq, a good provision. Children, rizq does not only mean wealth, money, or food. Children are rizq. Then when Zakaria realized that, he turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Realized that, he was reminded. He's a Nabi. He's a prophet, Zakaria, at his time. Then Zakaria, after he saw what he saw with his own eyes, the miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with Maryam alayhi salam, and the answer she gave him that it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he said, هُنَالِكَ. Then, at that time, هُنَالِكَ دَعَا زَكَرِيَّا رَبَّهُ قال رب هب لي من لدنك ذرية طيبة إنك سميع الدعاء. Said, oh Allah, he invoked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and saying, oh my Lord, grant me from you a good offspring. This is the number one. Dua, you go back to Allah Azza wa Jal even in this. You go to the doctors and so on and so forth, but you go to Allah Azza wa Jal and you ask for dua, what kind of dhurriyyah we want. Zakaria is telling us what the dhurriyyah we want. What kind of children we want. Not all of the children are going to be good or are going to be beneficial to the parents. The only children who will be beneficial to the children, to the parents, are al-awladu salihun, the righteous dhurriyyah. And Zakaria, he said, Habli, good offspring. You are good offspring. Tayyibah, a pure, a good offspring, a righteous offspring from you, Ya Allah. Innaka sami'ud du'a. Indeed, verily, Ya Allah, you hear the invocation of your servants or your slaves. And that's a dua. First of all is a dua. Second of all is not any children. When you make dua, especially the young brothers who are not married yet, remember the dua of Zakaria alayhi salam. Remember that when you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ask Him for dhurriyyah tayyibah, a good offspring, a righteous offspring, a pious kids, so that they can benefit you in the dunya and in the akhirah. That's the most important. Allah Azza wa Jal, this is not the dua I was talking about. This is one of the dua. But the dua of Sayyidina Zakaria that really, the ulama saying that those who are in need or they're seeking offspring and they didn't have children and they've been married for a while is coming. Allah Azza wa Jal in Surah Maryam. Zakaria alayhi salam, when he turned to Allah Azza wa Jal and he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with dhurriyyah, and he asked Allah Azza wa Jalla, he said, I want an offspring. But what kind of offspring? طيبة in the verse. And then يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ وَاجْعَلْهُ رَبِّ رَضِيًّا. Oh Allah, give me children, give me an offspring that will inherit me, Ya'qub. And Zakaria, inherit Zakaria and Ala Ya'qub, the family of Ya'qub. What did Zakaria and Ala Ya'qub had? What kind of an inheritance that we're talking about here? Are we talking about wealth? No. We're talking about al-hikmah wal-nubuwah. Talking about the prophethood. That's why I said, Allah, give me an offspring, but an offspring that will carry the message of La ilaha illallah. That's the most important. So when you make dua also, only the kids that we want are the kids who are good to us in the dunya and akhirah, but you want them to do something else as the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And that's carrying the message of La ilaha illallah. And that's very important. That Allah Azza wa Jal give you children, make that dua. Oh Allah Azza wa Jal, give me some children who are pious, good, and they will carry the kalima of La ilaha illallah in this country. That's very important. And that's Zakaria alayhi salam. Because he was in the situation where he's a prophet and he didn't know what's coming after him, and he was the bearer of La ilaha illallah. He wanted someone from his offspring to come and also deliver that message of La ilaha illallah. وَاجْعَلْهُ رَبِّي رَضِيًّا. Oh Allah, have him pure, good, carrying the message, and be pleased with him. So that Allah Azza wa Jal is pleased with them. That I am pleased with them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be pleased with them. In another ayah, in Surah Al-Anbiya, if you look at in Surah Al-Anbiya, the verses, I think it was from 85, 86, where Allah Azza wa Jal talks about the different Anbiya. Then it comes to the last verse 89 and 90, he talks about the unique dua of Sayyidina Zakaria. Zakaria made dua and dua and dua. The last dua of Zakaria, he said, وَزَكَرِيَّا إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ لَا تَذَرْنِي فَرْدًا وَأَنْتَ خَيْرُ الْوَارِثِينَ. This is the dua. And if try it. Ulama, they're saying if you're really struggling to have kids, this is the dua. If it's meant to be, if you're going to have kids, Allah Azza wa Jal will give you the children. ربي لا تذرني فردا وأنت خير الوارثين. And remember Zakaria, when he cried to his Lord, Oh my Lord, leave me not single, childless. Childless, not single, childless. Though you are the best of the inheritors. This dua of Sayyidina Zakaria, as usual, Al-Anbiya, they have a beautiful way to make dua. In a way that it's very polite with Allah Azza wa Jalla. Oh Allah, do not leave me childless, alone. I need children. But in the same time, if it's not going to happen, أنت خير الوارثين. Everything's go back to you. Whether I have children or not, my actions, my deeds, nubuwa, la ilaha illallah, it all goes into Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether I have the children or not, he reminds himself that Allahu khayrul warithin. Yes, I want children to inherit me. Yes, I want children to carry the message. Yes, I want children to have my name and but at the end, everything goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The beauty of this, and that why the ulama, they said, this is the dua that you ask because of the following dua, and we have seen it with all of the other ad'iyah. فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ. Right away, immediately, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُ يَحْيَى وَأَصْلَحْنَا لَهُ زَوْجَهُ إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ وَيَدْعُونَنَا رَغَبًا وَرَهَبًا وَكَانُوا لَنَا خَاشِعِينَ. Etiquettes of dua in this, subhanAllah, Allah Azza wa Jalla is teaching us through these ayat and through this, through the telling us the stories of the prophets and their dua. Dua is dua, but what's really specific of the dua of Zakaria? It is that Zakaria, he said, فَاسْتَجِبْنَا. Now the answer is there from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُ يَحْيَى. And then we gave him Yahya. Yahya in another ayah is the first person who was named Yahya. لَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ سَمِيًّا. That's the first one. Not only that, Yahya was given, and the answer was not only given as a child, he gave him a child. And the child was Nabi. وَأَتَيْنَاهُ الْحُكْمَ صَبِيًّا. In another ayah of the Quran. That he was given the hikmah of the Sabi as a young boy. It was narrated in the other that Yahya was playing with the kids, and a boy came to him and said, let's go play. He said, مَا لِذَلِكَ خُلِقْنَا. That's why they said, وَأَتَيْنَاهُ الْحُكْمَ صَبِيًّا. Allah Azza wa Jalla. He said, a boy came to a boy, he said, let's go play. He said, no, I was not here to play. That's Yahya as a baby. And there's a lot to be talked about Yahya, especially with Isa alayhi as-salam. They are cousins. Yahya and Isa, they were cousins. And he was also a martyr, Yahya alayhi as-salam. Not only that he has a baby, there's a child who is righteous and tayyib, and he will take care of him in the dunya, and he will be dhikhrun lahu fil akhirah, as the saving in the akhirah, but also وَأَصْلَحْنَا لَهُ زَوْجَهُ. Same as with Ayub, where he said we made his wife go back to her normal state, meaning that she's not sterile anymore. Even though she's old, still she can have children at that time. That Allah Azza wa Jal said that. إِنَّهُمْ. Here there's the key. Allah Azza wa Jal, like I said, talked about a lot of Anbiya. And this is the last Nabi and this is the last dua. Some of them made dua. And he said, Allah Azza wa Jal, إِنَّهُمْ. Why did we answer their call? Right away. إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ وَيَدْعُونَنَا رَغَبًا وَرَهَبًا وَكَانُوا لَنَا خَاشِعِينَ. 3 criteria. You want the dua to be mustajab? 3 criteria. Besides following the politeness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and so on and so forth, كَانُوا يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ. What does it mean? They were hasting in doing the good deeds. They don't wait for people to call them to do the good deeds. They don't wait for people to call them and give sadaqah. They don't wait to call people to call them to make salat on time. They don't wait for people to call them and to tell them to help others. No, they were basically initiative takers. They took the initiative. They took the initiative to go towards Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is the yusari'un, not just they do. Yusari'un, that they will rush into pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want the dua to be answered. Be among those who race each other to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the good deeds and the actions and so on and so forth. That's one. يُسَارِعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرَاتِ وَيَدْعُونَنَا رَغَبًا وَرَهَبًا. رَغَبًا وَرَهَبًا. يَدْعُونَنَا. They call upon Allah Azza wa Jal in the difficult situation and the ease. In the difficult situation and ease. Raghaban, they are seeking the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal. Rahaban, they are afraid of the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they are on a continuous mode. They are good in their wealth, in their health, in their children. they make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal. From the heart, not the mechanical dua that we grow up with. Because there's dua that we do after salat, and most of us, we grow up making that dua. But most of the time we're saying with our tongues what we don't even understand. Well, the dua we're talking about here, that we need to be awake and saying it, is that القلب حاضر اللسان ينطق والقلب حاضر. The tongue is saying the words and the qalb is connected to the words. You do not know how to say it in Arabic? Don't. Say it in English. Say it in your own language. Speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with your own language so you can express yourself the best way with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He understands subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not talking to anyone. We're talking a bit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. رَغَبًا وَرَهَبًا. So if we find ourselves that we are in a difficult situation, we turn to Allah Azza wa Jal, and then when things get easy, we just forget and go back to normal. That's a problem. Allah Azza wa Jal talks about Quraysh and talks about the kuffar in this situation. He said when they are in a difficult situation, they turn to Allah Azza wa Jal. And their heart, and then when things are, or the calamity is lifted, then they go back to the kufr, they go back to the normal, they go back to the ma'siyah, they go back to the normal life. Can't. We have to do it this way. That's وَكَانُوا لَنَا خَاشِعِينَ. The first, which is الخشوع إلى الله عز وجل. It's really fear mixed with humiliation, mixed with humbling yourself towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the prayer, outside of the prayer, in your actions, in the street, at work. You are khasha' lillah azza wa jal all the time. And if we want to be like Zakaria, whom his wife was old and sterile, and him, he was very old. They will say that he was at least in the late 70s. At least. It could be the 90s. So. Yet Allah Azza wa Jal. But what triggered the whole thing was Zakaria. It is Maryam alayhi salam. He went to Maryam and he found something. And he asked her, what did you get this? Then Maryam took him back, reminded him. That's why the Quran says, ذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Remind. Because the reminder will benefit the believers. And Zakaria is a believer, and he was reminded and he benefited from it, and he went and made dua, and Allah Azza wa Jal gave him Yahya, the great Nabi and the son of a Nabi, coming from a lineage of a prophets and messengers. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه ملء السماوات والأرض وما بينهما يا رب. وصل اللهم وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم يا رحمن السماوات والأرض يا حي يا قيوم يا من لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. اللهم احفظ أبناء المسلمين في هذه البلاد. اللهم احفظ أبناء المسلمين في هذه البلاد. اللهم اجعلهم من يرفعون راية لا إله إلا الله في هذه البلاد. اللهم احفظهم من كل فتنة يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم احفظهم من شياطين الجن والإنس يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم يا حي يا قيوم يا من لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. اللهم لا تجعل لنا في هذا الجمع الكريم في هذا البيت الكريم مريضا إلا شفيته، ولا ميتا إلا رحمته، ولا ضالا إلا هديته، ولا عائلا إلا أغنيته، ولا طالبا للعلم إلا نفعته ونفعت به ووفقته، ولا طالبا للرزق إلا وفقته للحلال، ولا طالبا للزواج إلا وفقته لابنة الحلال أو ابن الحلال الصالحة أو الصالح برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين في كل مكان. اللهم من أراد الإسلام بخير فوفقه لكل خير، ومن أراد الإسلام بشر فخذه أخذ عزيز مقتدر. اللهم انصر المظلومين في كل مكان. اللهم عليك بالظالمين فإنهم لا يعجزونك. اللهم لا تبقي منهم ولا تذر. يا عزيز يا جبار. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت، وعافنا فيمن عافيت، وتولنا فيمن توليت. إنه لا يعز من عاديت ولا يذل من واليت. تباركت ربنا وتعاليت. وصل اللهم وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وعلى أصحاب سيدنا محمد. وسبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. وأقم الصلاة.